The Diablo 4 dev team had a live stream. If you missed it, I got you covered. We're going to go through all the changes that are coming down the pipe. We'll see you on the other side. So the Diablo 4 dev team covered a lot of topics, and a couple of things that I want to mention right off the top that hit me right away while we watched their stream was the fact that there have already been 350 million hours played. Now, the game's been out 10 days, 350 million hours. Is unbelievable. So kudos to everyone that is playing this game. That's a really crazy number. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is all of what I deem to be some really good changes coming to the game. Let's talk about probably what is the most talked about topic on Reddit and the forums and on live streams is XP, grinding, how to level up quickly. And obviously there's been a lot of discussion since Diablo 4 launched regarding the amount of XP in dungeons. Now, a lot of the players that reached level 100 did so very quickly by grinding dungeons in groups. Since then, it has been drastically reduced. The mob density, the amount of elites in dungeons has been tinkered with more times than I can count on my hand. So that has drastically decreased the amount of XP that players are receiving during dungeons. However, it is still the number one method of how players are grinding and leveling up XP. Obviously, this is something that the dev team noticed, and with the feedback and what they've seen, they have confirmed that dungeons are still going to be looked at, and they are going to continue to play with the mob density and the elite, the amount of elites in dungeons, because they don't want just the dungeons to be grinded. 350 million hours played in 10 days. That's what the dev team confirmed. That's a lot of playtime. Congratulations to all of us that are part of that number. That also speaks to the popularity of this game when it launched. Let's hope it continues to stay in that trend. The other thing that I found interesting during the dev team live stream was the fact that they mentioned that the majority of players have not finished the campaign. That I have to say was very surprising to me. Although I understand, I would say the majority of the player base does not have all day 10, 12, 13 hours to play this game. I would imagine the player base is 25 to 45, has a full-time job, has maybe a couple hours every night or every other night while they're sipping back a drink and cooling down to play this game 2 or 3 hours maybe a night. So that makes total sense. And their point about the majority of their player base has not finished the campaign only validates that point. Another confirmation from the dev team is that they want nightmare dungeons to be more effective than normal dungeons. As we all know, currently regular dungeons are being played more than nightmare dungeons. And of course, that's an issue for them. I would imagine it's also an issue for the player base. Now, as we know, the dev team has made many modifications to the mob density and the amount of elites in normal dungeons, therefore decreasing the amount of XP gained in normal dungeons. As you may or may not be aware, a lot of the players that reached level 100 during the race to 100 did so by grinding normal dungeons because the amount of mob density was so high and the amount of elites was so high, and they immediately noticed that and grinded normal dungeons to 100 in a group. So the dev team doesn't see that as their way of how they want the game to be played. They want Nightmare Dungeons to be more effective. So changes are coming for Nightmare Dungeons, not only as far as XP, but also how we get to them. Another confirmation from the dev team is that Season 1 is going to be here mid to late July. Basically, the work is already, Season 1 is basically already done. They're just testing, ironing out the kinks. It's basically ready to go, and it looks like they're just going to be testing till mid-July, end of July. So that's another confirmation we got from the dev team regarding Season 1. Regarding Season 1, Renown will carry over, not all of it, some of it. The Fog of War will be removed for areas you have discovered. Altar of Lilith will carry over. Waypoints in the major city will carry over. Side quests will reset. Now, that's how it is for Season 1. They did mention that for later seasons, they're still playing around with side quests resetting in during seasons. So they are aware of that, and they may potentially change that in future seasons. What does that mean? It means that they're contemplating also carrying over all the side quests that we've done in previous seasons. That's not today, but it is something that's on their radar and potentially something they may change in later seasons. All bonus stats from now will carry over with you. So really, really some good news. A lot of players, including myself, were really worried about this season to season. That Fog of War is really annoying. So great news. Also, getting on our horse to find all the altars of Lilith is really not why we play this game. So personally, I feel once you do it on your main character, it should carry over to all of your characters. So I'm really happy that the dev team mentioned that. Story changes. They talked about how they are looking at ways to improve our inventory that we carry while we're grinding the game. Specifically, they mentioned gems. And I know this is a big bone of contention for a lot of players, including myself. When we're out in the world, why are gems occupying our space when there's so much loot in this game? So they have confirmed they are going to address this problem, and it's going to go into our materials area automatically. So like just how plants and ore, for example, when we pick them up in the open world, it automatically goes into our materials. It doesn't occupy our inventory. Same thing's going to happen with gems. The thing with the gem and getting this fix, it was discussed that it's not going to happen in Season 1, most likely in Season 2. Now, obviously, all of us would have preferred it being taken care of with this up and coming season. It's mid-July, late July for Season 1. But hey, something's better than nothing. So still another positive and another sign that the devs are listening to the community. Another quality of life topic that was discussed was side quests and how it's really non-user friendly as far as tracking. That's the first thing that pops in my mind is it's very non-user friendly, the side quests. It really is a basic journal UI. So I was happy to hear that they are looking at ways to eventually improve the future of the journal UI. All right, tracking side quests, seeing how far you are in it, all that kind of stuff. So they dove a little bit into it. Bottom line, it's something that is on their radar, something that they know is an issue for their player base, and it's something that they are going to address in the future. Another topic the dev team brought up was the feedback they've been receiving regarding solo players that don't have friends or are not part of a group or not part of a clan, and they're looking for groups to play with, and how really there isn't any avenue for them in this game to do that. So the dev team brought up this topic, and they're looking at ways of how to improve that aspect. And they kind of threw up like you can get in front of a dungeon and you can have a tab come up, or you can go into the social menu and you can look for a group and play with a bunch of randos for that specific dungeon. Now, that's not what they said they were going to do. They just were spitballing ideas of kind of what their mentality is and what they're thinking about of how they can improve the looking for group aspect for players that are solo players and are not part of a clan. So that's, again, I think it's a good thing to think about. I believe giving players that are not part of a clan or don't have a lot of friends the avenue to look for a group for the high end game content, I think is a great play on their part, and will only establish retention for the game. So again, very impressed that they're contemplating this and looking at it. And again, it highlights the fact that they're listening to the player base. Okay, there you have it, folks. Just to recap, the dev team confirmed 350 million hours played in 10 days. Incredible. I still can't believe it. It's unbelievable. The majority of players still haven't finished the campaign. They want Nightmare Dungeons to be a good place to farm. They want Nightmare Dungeons to be more efficient than normal dungeons. They're going to modify how Nightmare Dungeons work. They're going to improve the rewards and reduce the travel time. Season 1 is mid to late July. Season 1, they discussed what renown will carry over. The key being some of the attributes are carrying over, which is good news. Inventory changes. Gems will eventually go straight to materials and not in your inventory. This is projected for Season 2. Social updates, looking for groups, etc. Dev team is looking at adding features like this in the future. And side quest tab, more appropriately the journal UI. They want to improve the tracking mechanism in the journal. Those are basically the talking points and summary of the Diablo 4 dev team stream. Well, that'll do it, folks. I hope you found this video informative. Like always, if you want to see me live on stream, I stream every evening on Twitch. I usually hit that go live button between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love for you to come by and say hello. And for those of you that have overwhelmingly supported this channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like I mentioned in previous videos, this is a very brand new YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow not only the channel, but the community that watches it. So for those of you that are supporting this channel, thank you so much. It means the world to me. And for those of you that are new, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.